Hello there guys, welcome back to Reborn with Michael Watson. Today I want to talk about the fact that I have surrendered for the last over a year, and I wanted to talk about my experience with the idea of surrender, how it's changed my life, and why I recommend it to so many. Now, firstly, before I get into that, if you're new to this channel and you like Spirituality Simplified, please consider like, sharing and subscribing. And also I have a free Facebook group, The Healing Circle. And if you're looking for a bit more in-depth knowledge, I have my paid group, which is the Live and Reborn membership. But anyway, that's by the by. I want to talk about this video. I want to talk about the reason behind this video. I surrendered for well over the last year, really. I remember when the idea came to me to surrender now, to let go. I'd been studying Joe Dispenza for a while, and Michael Singer, Joseph Murphy, Neville Goddard, many of the greats. Obviously I've been a fan of Louise Hay, Abraham Hicks, many other teachers too. But I'd had successes in my life, but I still was in this thing of manifestation, and what I was getting wrong with it was I was trying to control everything. I was trying to control my life, I was trying to control the outcomes. And all that did actually was put a lot of pressure on me, a lot of pressure on what happened in my life. So I actually started to feel a lot of pain. I'd been through the things where I'd healed my body. I'd already done that. I'd started to let go of anxiety. I'd let go of physical pains. I'd let go of these things. But I knew that there was something else that I needed to do. Many of you who follow my journey will know the point where I was at. It was in Spain, literally £40 left in the bank, just reacting to life. Now the thing that people make, and the mistake that they make, is they think surrender is not doing anything. They think surrender is not actually stepping into your life whatsoever. It's just surrendering to what is. No, it's not that. Surrender is actually very different. Surrender in its truest form is not that you don't step into life, but you just stop reacting to life so much. So surrender for me is about letting go of the reactions. Now, I'm human, so we're going to have reactions at times. But instead of then berating myself for that reaction, every time a problem came up, every time a reaction happened, I celebrated it as a time to go deeper. Go deeper into my spiritual practice. Go deeper into what I wanted to achieve, which really was enlightenment and ease of life. I'd got to the point where I'd had enough of feeling the way that I felt. I didn't really care anymore if my life changed per se. I just cared that I felt awful living in that life. I had everything. Beautiful wife, I mean the wife of my dreams, 3 beautiful children, living in a warm, beautiful country. I'm not in that country right now. I'm in Dubai with a client, but we'll go into that at the moment. But what I'm saying is I had everything, but I also had nothing, because I had no joy in it. I had glimmers of joy, you know. I wasn't just upset all the time, but true joy. Gratitude and appreciation for no reason except life. It was always dependent on what was happening outside of me, whether I felt joy or not. And I just got to the point where I'd had enough of that. And many of you on your spiritual journey may be at this point. So I want to talk about it. So what I did was I decided to not worry about whether I created anything, but just make it about how I felt in life. How I felt in life. So I decided to surrender to the feeling that life had to go exactly my way for me to feel good. I surrendered to reacting to life. I surrendered and let go of it all. I let go of all of that. Now, I want to talk to you about it because it's changed my life in immeasurable ways, and that's why I'm making this video, because I need you to know this. I need you to understand. Now, one of my inspirations here was Michael Singer. Let's talk about Michael Singer, the king of surrender, the untethered soul, the surrender experiment, you know. Well, this man created a multi-billion-dollar company. Yes, he had problems with FBI investigations, nothing to do with him. And he created the Temple of the Universe, and he's created a wonderful books and teachings and all of these things. And all of that was through surrender. So I thought, well, if that's the case, then maybe there's something to it. Also, in my studies of Dr. Joe Dispenza, it was your reactions to life are what are going to keep you stuck in your similar position. So I put two and two together. Surrender is not reacting to life. It's letting life be what it is, but me being the observer behind all of that. When the emotions do come up, I just observe them, surrender to what is, and let them pass through me. What I found, though, is when I compiled that with Joseph Murphy's work of affirmation and prayer, I started to pray from that place of surrender and intend from that place of surrender. So I used to pray, saying, I'm where I'm meant to be, doing what I love, infinitely prospered, infinitely blessed. I have wonderful, well-paying clients who have great success with my teachings, and I would say that so regularly. Now, anyway, the point of the matter is why? I also blessed my life, blessed my family. Why did I do this? Because after that, I just let it go, and I let life unfold in front of me, without judgment, without the need to create anything. What started to happen next? Well, I tell you, it's a whirlwind up to this point, so I'm going to just try and describe it as best I can. So this may be a longer video because I think you need to hear the full journey. Well, what happened is, after 6 weeks of not a lot happening, not a lot changing, I just noticed that I felt better. You know, I was making enough in those 6 weeks to get by. Obviously, I didn't survive off 40 pounds within 6 weeks, but nothing miraculous. That was still usual. But I just started to enjoy life more. I started to be less responsive to life, and I noticed that energy was rising up within me. I noticed that I had more energy. I noticed that I was more present with my family. But then what happened next was crazy. Then life started to unfold in a more pleasing way. So I started getting more and more wonderful clients. I started to increase my income, and in turn increase my freedom. So I started to be able to effortlessly pay for my kids' schooling in Spain, go out for dinners, have nice times, and life was flowing. Now, was I perfect in these moments? No, there wasn't perfection in these moments because I was still learning. But I noticed these things. So when the old story would come up of lack, limitation, upset towards this or that, well, I would sit with it, observe it, and release it. What started to happen? The things continued to improve. My relationship with my children improved. It was more present, more connected. My relationship with my wife started to improve. Now, along the time, I wasn't perfect. So there was times of struggle and strife. I remember there was one time that came up in my time of surrender where I had a court judgment against me for an old debt. Now let's talk about this in a minute, because this is something I'm going to say at the end. But this court judgment came up. Now, the beautiful thing about the journey I'd been on to this point was I'd worked so much on surrendering that I realized, a bit like what Michael Singer had with the FBI investigation, this was my moment where the true fear of life that I had in me, which was getting my house taken away or my things taken away, the safety that I was trying to create for my family taken away. I knew in this moment this was my chance to do the deepest work, the deep work of change. So it was in this moment where I really put to the test what I'd started to learn. So I started to notice how I felt about it. Now I had a big reaction to it. It frightened the life out of me. That is not inherently bad. Inherently bad is if it frightens you and you live from that and take action from that emotion. So in that moment of fear, I did ring up the company and I checked that it was all true, and they said yes, it is. Now, I'd been living in Spain for a while and I hadn't had any correspondence about this. I just happened to come across it. Well, here's something interesting then. I came across it, I rang up, it was all true, and I noticed I was upset. I started to surrender behind that upset, and I said, I'm not going to take any more action from fear now. This is one of my number one rules in the idea of surrender. Action from fear only leads to more problems. So I surrendered behind it, and what started to happen? I started to feel better. I started to release the fear, and I came to a place of peace. From that place of peace, I became intentional. Everything is working out for my highest good. There's always a divine solution. Everything is going to work out for me. I am safe. And I just reaffirmed that, and I let go. In that moment, I was inspired to make another phone call to talk about it, to explain that I'd been away in Spain and that this and that had happened. Well, just to cut a very long story short, and I have a video on this whole situation which goes deeper, funny enough, the person on the end of the phone made a mistake. They said that if I started paying the monthly payments again, they'll get rid of the court judgment. Now, this wasn't actually true. That wasn't their policy. But he said it on a recorded call. So it turned out that they had to honour it. And one of the things they did as well is they sent me money to apologise, to say that we were in the wrong. We know you're in Spain, start paying it again. Here's £100. I actually ended up getting £200 because of a couple of mistakes they made. But basically we started paying that back. The court judgment is now off. Surrender wins again. What else has been happening? Well, from the beginning of this year, I started to become more intentional about growing and expanding my reach with what I'm doing here. Again, surrendering to divine guidance. I had a 200,000 view video on a Neville Goddard video, which changed the channel trajectory and got me in front of a lot more people. Again, no effort, just divine guidance, surrender. So my channel grew. We're at 32,000 subscribers. Also, I started to attract more and more wonderful clients. I wanted to sell my house, and it effortlessly sold. I also started to notice that when I surrendered my emotional reaction towards things I didn't like, for example, I had an older family member go into hospital and they were losing weight and it looked like it was a no-go for them. I surrendered any emotional attachment to that situation and became intentional again around the idea of them being healthy and well. Well, literally the other week I sang at their birthday party. They are back, they're happy, healthy and well. And I started to notice that my emotions, becoming the master of my emotions, actually changed my life. So I started to go deeper and deeper into it. I started to wanting to work with more and more interesting clients and do different things. From that was guided to meet a wonderful client here who lives in Dubai, and I'm now here for the second week working with them on a 7-day working environment. I've been able to notice where I'm taking these actions from fear, and even things that are beautiful like my marriage and all that. I had some fear-based actions in those places where I would act from those, and it would put pressure on the marriage to be something, and now I don't act from them. It's like we've gone back to the honeymoon period. So it's like I really need you to notice that surrendering to life has literally changed it. I've had multi-5-figure months within my business just through surrender. None of this has come from effortful work, you know. When I say that, I mean multiple 5 in 1 month. Like literally last month was my best month ever. And what is it doing? The beautiful thing is it's the value that everyone's getting and receiving from it too, because I surrender and I believe that the divine flows through me to help those people. I let go of attachment to it being me and let go of the ego, let go of the egotistical thing that I'm doing this. That's what surrender is for me. So it's like even when I'm intentionally trying to heal someone, or helping a client to learn to heal, or helping them to manifest more abundance, or whatever it is, I let go of the idea that it's me that's doing this and bringing it out of them. I give it over to them, I give it over to the divine, I surrender to what is, and I allow something to work through me in my life and business. So what happens is now I become present to the moment, without judgment, without fear of failure, without trying so hard, just presence and non-attachment to outcome. This is really freeing, and so how can I describe it more except that my whole life is transformed. I'm free. There's so much energy to access within me now, because it's not used worrying about ifs and buts and whens and hows. It's more the only ever energy and focus that I have is if I feel disconnected to a situation, I release behind that and let it release off me, and it has changed my life so much more for the better. I recommend all of you, you know, even if you don't connect so much with my videos, read Michael Singer's work, read Joe Dispenza's work, Joseph Murphy, Neville Goddard, and find your own linking points. When I linked it all together, I realized that surrender isn't about not showing up in life. It's about giving yourself over to something greater than yourself, which in my essence is God or the divine. It's whatever you believe it to be. You see, the thing is it's all just an energy expression. That's what we are. So surrender to that energy. It's like now, I mean, if I can show you this, like I'm on the Palm in Dubai at the moment. Does that even show it? That's getting a bit bright, but you can see that's the sea flowing there. It constantly flows like this. There is no effort required for that to happen. It's a natural process of life. What surrendering discovered for me is that there's natural laws to life. There's the gravity, magnetism, electricity, mathematics, physics. They have laws. There's a law to your mind. There's a law to the energy in your body. Once you start to work with these laws, you can start to direct them in your life. See, I would not go and try and rewire a plug because I don't understand the laws of electricity, and I'll get burnt and hurt by them. So try and understand the laws of spirituality. To surrender is to connect to the divine. To become intentional is to direct that divine presence. To let go of your reactions is to not make a god of anything else over yourself. This is the definitive truth. This is what I've learned over my over a year of surrender. It's more likely 2 years, you know, but my whole life has transformed because of it. Do any of you live this way? Comment down below if you thought this video was helpful.